Jonathan Siglin. I'm a deacon here at Redeemer. This is my wife Jessica. We've been members for about 2 years now.
When we first moved here to Bloomington, we were looking for a home church. God has just really been teaching us the importance of community up until we had moved here to Bloomington, and we knew that we needed to dive right in. So we had tried several churches in town, but just didn't feel God's leading at those churches. But when we came to Redeemer, we just really felt like the Lord was just leading us there. You know, the Word was taught clearly and taught well, and then community was just so apparent. I remember that first Sunday that we came, that greeting time is always so long, which is so awkward for introverts, but there's definitely a reason behind it that we've learned. But I remember putting my stuff down on a chair, and I turned around and there was just 3 women standing there ready to say hello to me, and that's just never happened. Most of the time I just usually stand up and just wait for it to be over. So that was a really pleasant surprise.
And just the growth that we've had through the community and the church. Just having people that will call us out when we're not doing what we need to, that'll love on us when we need to be loved on, that'll lift us up, that'll just basically live life with us. People that love on our kids, that'll take care of our family if we need it. Just the small things that you don't realize that you're missing out on, and then once you understand what it means to be part of a community, I'm not sure there's another way to go about it.
And I think that's just an answer to prayer. You know, we've prayed for people to fill in the gaps where we can't parent well because we're not perfect parents, obviously. And it's just been amazing just to see people step into that role that we've not even necessarily asked, but they've just cared and loved on our kids and have spoken truth into their hearts, and have pushed them towards Jesus.
I like church because it's fun, we get to sing, we learn about Jesus.
When I first came to Bloomington as a freshman 4 years ago, I had a lot of problems trying to find a church where I felt like one was where I could belong, one that I could bring friends to and hear the gospel, and also just one that I felt at home at, and that did a good job of teaching from the gospel in a way that was understandable and relatable. And so I was bouncing around here and there my first couple of years, and then through a few friends, through a group called Navigators, I heard about Redeemer. It's really set the trend in my mind of what a church should be. I walk in and I feel welcomed. I feel at home, and the message is based on the Bible. We don't skip around things that we think are uncomfortable, but rather we talk about why this is good to talk and know about.
So coming to Redeemer has shown me that when broken people come together and are willing to be vulnerable and open up their hearts and just keep it real about how messy all of us really are, we can use that to be pointed back to Christ and the gospel and why we're here in the first place, and that it's not just this obligation or effort to do things on our own or to be better or to grow separate from a community, but to really love one another and remember that that's the whole point of everything, is to show love and be loved and remember how much Christ loves us.
Hi, my name is Robert Skelton. This is my wife, Lauren. We have been members of the church for a little over a year now. Became members in December and been attending since last July.
We had kind of been involved in church in one way or another since we got together and before independently, but we really feel like God led us to Redeemer, and at the time we didn't understand why and we didn't know why, but since then His providence in providing us with a gospel-centered community has become abundantly clear.
In March, we set upon a series of events. We had just finished an amazing Disney cruise. We got home to find out about 12 hours later that my mother passed away from a genetic disease that my brother had, which ultimately was about to take his life, and then I have as well.
Yeah, I think for Katie and I think the community groups have been probably one of the biggest things that we have been a part of, because I think a lot of times you can go to church and you can leave and not really allow the rest of your life to be affected. And I think being around other believers has really encouraged us to continue to live out being authentic with our lives. And even when we have struggled with things, or when we have gone through difficult times, which we have had plenty of those, we have had so many people come around us, so many people encourage us, so many people just invite us over to be that support system. And I think that has been huge for us to be centered in that, and to allow our hearts to have some rest, and to allow other people to care for you.
So yeah, in March, we kind of had our first event, and having experienced most of my life, I had been involved in church, but not really in a strongly gospel-centered community. So my experience with Crisis was that, people have a little bit of room for a crisis or two from someone else. But we just kept experiencing crisis after crisis, with loss and medical problems and surgeries. And it became really amazing to see that every time we had a problem, and every time we picked up the phone to call for help or comfort, or anything from anyone at the church, people just continued to answer. And I so specifically remember about the third step into crisis, picking up the phone and calling a friend from church, and really expecting to go to voicemail, really expecting, like, surely people have run out of grace for us and our crisis, our ongoing needs. But that's the thing that we're learning being in gospel-centered community, is that just like Christ doesn't run out of grace for us, that is embodied in his people.
We know that he puts us through these things to try to make us better and be more like him. Because in the end, I know God has a plan. He has a plan for us to be at this church, to be around the people that have been there constantly for us with never-ending love and grace, and can't ask for anything better.